even get back in? Like, they're alive too. I assume that's from. Only she was unexpected. You can control the car. It's a spectate. You're missing now. We're missing Jacob. I feel like I'm just gonna. It's been almost 5 minutes. No. Alright, I'll just wait. Round 9 takes us to the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring for an intense ride of fast straights and challenging corners. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. I'm here with Jordan McGraw. Hope he's doing well also. Jordan, we have rain in the forecast, it looks like.
I see a lot of rain droplets on the screen there for qualifying. That's going to make things very interesting because this is a very fast track and a track that is going to be very interesting to ride around in the wet.
I would say so. We saw practice out here. Perfect weather. So this is going to be a definite change for these drivers. 17 laps on the clock, or 17 minutes on the clock for qualifying just started. And we see Ferrari not already on his out lap. We saw a minute 6, some of the fastest times in practice, and that was going to be Scarface. We already have Ferrari spinning out, so that just goes to show you how difficult this is gonna be.
Yeah, and he lost his wing in the process, so he's going to have to come down and abandon this attempt at a lap. And yeah, he lost pretty much all of his entire front wing, entire right side is gone. So not the start to the night that he was wanting, but still plenty of time to put down a nice fast qualifying lap, as we still have 16 and a half minutes remaining on the timer.
Saw Ferrari now get his 4th win of the season last week at Canada. I know he's looking to make tonight win number 5, but it's going to take a few laps to try to get used to these wet conditions out here. But man, oh man, as I was saying earlier, Scarface, he was in the 106s, MJ Seals, and Gale Force. 3 drivers in the 106s. We'll see that could very well change in these conditions, but we do have several drivers out. You can see Scarface on his out lap. Polish Hammer still getting those setups in. MJ Seals out on his out lap, one of the drivers in the 106s. Justin was looking extremely quick. 107, I do believe he had in practice. Gale Force had a 106, and he is currently on his out lap.
Yeah, curious decision out of Ferrari Nut. He is continuing on and attempting to at least put down a lap to scuff the tires, but without having most of his wing, I don't really know what he's going to learn. The first driver on the racetrack right now attempting a lap that will have a chance of standing is Sober David. He is working his way through Sector 2, almost into Sector 3.
All right, Jordan, so I have to ask, we talk about this every week. What is going to be the most difficult portions of the track here tonight?
Well, starting off turn 1, very, very tight, kind of an awkward angle going uphill. So it's going to be real tough for these drivers starting off and then going up the hill into the second hard right-hander. Ferrari puts down the fastest lap of the session so far, and actually, even without a front wing, 2 seconds faster than Sober David, and a tenth faster than MJ Seals. But going up the hill into, I believe it's considered turn 3, but it's the first true hard right-hander on the racetrack, sort of a hairpin. Ferrari Nuts X-Wing there right now. That's going to be a very difficult corner to navigate in traffic. It's a little bit of an awkward exit. It opens up a little more than you'd expect it to, but if you overstep it, you're going to go over the edge, over that curb, maybe lose the car, maybe get yourself a penalty, and then through the infield, there's some tight, fast corners. Maybe not tight, but open, fast corners that you really have to hit your marks to make good lap time through, and that's probably the hardest portion of the racetrack, but there are a couple of turns that by themselves are difficult.
Z46, we're missing you out here tonight. I know he's unable to join us, has his wheel packed up tonight. He says Sector 3, in his opinion, is the most difficult. So very interesting, different opinions out here. We see Ferrari not making his way in to pit lane. Scarface has the fastest lap so far, 112.7. Leaf Justin is going to be next with a 113.3. Gale Force, who we saw on podium last week in Canada, he has a 113.9 with Ferrari Nut, a 114.1. And Z also says he thinks that Ferrari will get pole for tonight.
If he's able to put down a clean lap, I would have to agree with that, but He has a mistake already on the board. Can he get in a clean qualifying lap without losing the front wing? You would imagine so, but he's kind of put himself a little bit behind here to start off in the first 5 minutes or so of qualifying, but still 12 and a half minutes remaining in the session. Plenty of time to get a lap on the board if you want to earn the pole tonight.
Well, we saw teammates Justin and Jacob just going at it for the final couple laps in Canada. Those two were cracking us up. Just McLaren down the front stretch, coming to the finish line, bouncing off of each other. I'm kind of curious if we're going to see anything like that tonight, but man, it was so loose with the different strategies. Jacob was on a whole different strategy, whole different tire range from everyone else. So he was extremely loose out there, and those two were definitely having fun. I'm kind of wondering, are we going to see, okay, we have our weather forecast out here. Sober David says weather forecast, rain only on qualifying. A dry race is expected. So I think it's just going to switch things up for qualifying here, and it's going to be back to switch your mind back to dry conditions and what it was in practice.
Yeah, so drivers probably going to attempt to keep the setup to the dry end, so that'll make things a little more difficult to handle. Oh, Justin really loose in the penultimate corner, has to gather it up. He goes fastest out of anybody, but I think he lost a little speed there because he looked out of control at one point, but still a 1:11.8 puts him at the top of the board.
It sure does. Maddie says, boo, no rain race. I know it makes things exciting. I certainly was not expecting that for tonight, so that's definitely different. But yeah, Justin putting down that purple. 111.8. We got Scarface in second so far, 112.7. Gale Force, who finished out podium last week, he's on podium currently with time 113.4, and he just got moved out of the way from Polish Hammer. A 112.3 moves him up to P2. Embrace the chaos. Austria is chaotic enough. We don't need rain. It seems very fast. You have these lovely straights that you can make the passes on, get a lot of speed, and it can be a little chaotic because we do have these sharp corners. And as Jordan has mentioned, some of these are going uphill, and we have a couple of paperclip corners that can just be a little difficult here.
Yeah, going uphill, you can theoretically, if the game does gravity right, you can theoretically dive in deeper. The car will slow down better, so it kind of enhances the bravery needed to make really good lap time, and that causes drivers to be emboldened a little bit to dive in there, especially if they're trying to make a pass. And yeah, that can create some interesting situations that might lead to contact or other things. But oh gosh, watching Polish Hammer get super loose as Ferrari Nut has put down the fastest lap with an 11.092.
Oh, Jacob disqualified from the session. Not what you want to see, but Scarface, I'm a little concerned. I spoke to him before the race, and he says that he's struggling with traction tonight. He's having a hard time making that car grip onto the track, and that was before the rain, and you can just see him really slipping and sliding around these corners, trying to keep this car under control. Even with that, though, he's got a 112.0 on the board, currently sits P3.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, if Jacob might have slipped the car coming out of pit road or what, or maybe he exited pit road and wasn't ready for the car, to be given control of the race car. But either way, he was stopped there at the end of pit road, and David had to stop for him as well, and that ended up with both of them being disqualified from the session. So a very strange occurrence to have happen here halfway through this qualifying session.
Well, we could have a chat with them and see what's going on. Let's see if I can grab them real quick and see their perspective here. If it'll let me. We'll see if it'll even let me. Let's see. We'll try to get David in here and get Jacob. Jacob's not even. He's anonymous. But we didn't even get to see Jacob do a lap. He had a hard time even getting into the practice lobby, so it'll be curious how he does out here. David, how are you doing?
All right, wonder what the hell happened there, but yep.
Well, I was just about to ask you what the heck happened.
Basically, Jacob's car just stopped at the end of the pit lane and wasn't moving. I crashed into him, and then both of our cars got DQ'd for blocking the pit lane.
Oh. Oh, no. All right. So this track, we have rain right now. I know that you gave us a weather report and said that it should be dry conditions for the race, but how difficult is it out there right now? Pretty slippery?
It's still pretty slippery. Usually in any track in rain conditions, it's gonna be slippery. So especially with all the cars that are coming, because it's gonna be a dry race. Most of these cars are gonna be on dry setups, because like in F1 regulations, the setup you have in qualifying, you must have it in the race, so you can't change it. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky now, but it's already, for some of these drivers, already a little bit tricky because of the medium traction. But I'm sure like the top 4 or 5 definitely know what they're doing. They know how to control the cars. They know how to get through these conditions, and shouldn't really be much of a problem for them.
Yeah, I think for a few of these drivers, it will kind of change things up for them with all the different conditions going on. And as you said, the traction control being changed. And I know Scarface is one of them. Turn one, lap one. I know that means you're going to be starting in the rear. So how are you going to handle that as the race starts?
Usually my mindset being in the back of the grid is the pressure's not on me, and I can just watch. If there's any chaos in front of me, I don't have to worry about it. I can just watch it and not be involved in it. Uh,
All
but
right.
other than that, it's it's any position I'm in on the grid. It's just to make sure I don't have a good start. Don't make any early mistakes, and hopefully be able to, at the very least, keep up with everybody and move up. And since I'm gonna be back at the grid, hopefully I can move up as the race goes on.
Right. Well, I wish you luck moving into the race, and hopefully we get to see you in the booth afterwards.
I hope so. I really do. But my expectations aren't that high. But you never know.
See what happens. All right, just over 5 minutes left in qualifying. Ferrari Nut still holding on to the pole position, a 111.0. Polish Hammer 7/10 off with a 111.7. Justin out there just a tenth off of Polish Hammer with a 0.8. Scarface sitting P4. MJ Seals 5th. Gale 4 6 and Dion 4 Dub 7th with a 115.5.
Yeah, the rare qualifying lap out of Dion for Dub puts him
I
in the
know.
7th position ahead of Sober David and Jacob. So, interesting decision there. Only 9 drivers tonight, small field. Still, that offers itself plenty of opportunity for good racing and maybe a little chaos if we got some drivers on top of each other, which, judging by the lap times, we're going to see some pretty good action out there. Wow, that's a fast lap time.
That is a fast lap time. That's a full second ahead of P2, which is Leaf Justin. So, yeah, these guys are switching positions a little bit here. Now, starting on intermediates, on dry conditions, how different is that going to be?
Well, they won't have to start on the intermediate tire.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be allowed to change. It's sort of like, which I think they've gotten rid of the rule where you have to start on the tire you qualified on anyway. So that's yeah,
That's what
be
I
allowed
thought
to
too,
start
that
on
they got
whatever-
rid of it.
Yeah, they'll be allowed to start on whatever tire they want, which will likely be the mediums or the hards, as has been regular this season.
Yeah, you haven't seen too many soft starters here, but I know one or two will do that, and sometimes that is usually Sober David. He likes to do those different strategies, so I'm kind of curious what these guys will do. But take a look entering pit lane. Ferrari Nut going over that line there. It looks like a kind of a challenging pit entrance.
Yeah, I've seen a few drivers now watching them go across the grass there, so not sure if that's something that isn't penalized or whatever. But yeah, I've seen a few riding aboard with Scarface. He keeps it on the racing service, but it also looked like he was speeding pretty handily going into pit road. So, not sure if he'll get a penalty for that either. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's part of the strategy, if there's a little bit of grip there in the dirt or what, but not the first time I have seen someone go over the edge. And yes, it's a pretty difficult pit road to get into, and it's also, the entrance is right there on entry into an upcoming corner, and it can cause a little bit of mayhem if you have somebody directly behind you who is not looking to get to pit road.
You can see the Red Bull ring. Nice bull right there. Yeah, I always thought it was smaller than that. That's quite a large bull right there. When they show it on iRacing, it just looks so much smaller to me, but man, that's quite the statue right there. Z says the next game should have more variety with pit stop strategy. And he says the ideal strategy is going to be hard to medium. Z, we need you out here. You need to be out here. But I wish you luck tomorrow. Hope everything goes smooth and well. Guys, we have to give a huge shout out to Dion also. It was his birthday yesterday, so a huge happy birthday to Dion 4Dub. He is the owner of this league, does a great job, and big happy birthday wishes to him.
Happy birthday from all of us to him.
There you go.
Happy birthday. He needs to get to a gym. Hey, no.
We have quite a few drivers out here on an outlap. Just over a minute left on the board. Qualifying has absolutely flown by. Ferrari still holding on to that Polish in second. Took over Leaf Justin, who is now in third. Scarface in fourth with his time. MJ Seals fifth. Gale Force sixth. And Dion 4Dub seventh, with Sober David and Jacob disqualified. So
yeah,
very interesting.
Ferrari's on pit road. Meanwhile, Polish Hammer set a best second, and he dirties his lap time. That will get deleted, so that will not count. But I believe he was on pace for a potential pole run with Ferrari Nut on pit road, unable to counter with the clock showing underneath 30 seconds.
Polish in the red, so that lap will not, it is done for him. Z says, will be interesting to see if anyone has a setup that favors a wet qualifying more. You know, I think we've seen about what we're going to see out of the times here. We might see a couple of movers, but man, very interesting.
Justin went purple in sector 1, it looked like. So maybe he has something here for the front too.
Right, well, he's about to pass into sector 3. We'll see what that does. Don't see anything lit up here. Bloomy, I see you out there. He says, happy birthday, Dion. I know you guys are saying happy birthday to Dion. Amazing. Bloomy, you need to be out here too. All right, Leave Justin getting ready to cross the line here with just under 2:30 to go on the clock, and that's going to be his final time, a 1:11.2. Polish Hammer 1:10.8. He's in the pits, so that should be the finish for him. Gale Force still out, getting ready to cross the line currently, and it's going to be a 1:12.3. And those teammates, they were on top of the board in practice, so I'm kind of curious how it's going to switch up once we get into dry conditions once again.
Yeah, Justin and Gale Force both bettering their lap times, but not enough to jump up position, and Justin himself lost a spot to Scarface. Scarface put down a P3 lap time at 10.9, so 3 drivers in the 110s in the wet, but as has been mentioned, these setups likely built for the dry conditions, since that is what we are likely going to be racing under.
As predicted, Ferrari Nut gets the pole with a 1:10.5. Polish Hammer about 3/10 behind with a 1:10.8. Scarface 3D with a 1:10.999. Leaf Justin in 4th and MJ Seals in 5th. Meanwhile, 6th is going to be Gale Force with 7th Dion 4Dub. 8th is going to be Sober David, and 9th will be Jacob X99. All right. Well, we already know it's going to be dry conditions. And so I got to know, as a driver, Jordan, when you go from one extreme to the other, is that going to take them a second to get back used to, or do you think they will be okay?
It depends. These drivers have the opportunity to keep the racing line on. Some use it in just the corners. Some have it all over the racetrack. Some don't use it. And I think that um, a wild shift in track conditions, that doesn't affect the drivers who have a little line they can kind of follow around and give them some guidance on how to take each corner. But for drivers who do not use that assist, I think it might take them a few corners to kind of figure it out. But you're obviously going to have a little more grip, a little more traction than what you had in that previous qualifying session. So your rule of thumb is you can go in a little bit deeper, a little bit harder, but of course you don't want to step over the line.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Z says if people aren't careful, then fuel management could become an issue tonight. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. I am curious how much they can get out there. And David did say, just in case you're unaware, we try to give everyone time to get their strategies in order. Absolutely, which is what this screen is for, allowing them to do what they need to do before we go into our formation lap. 36 laps, though, Jordan.
Yep, 36 laps. And to piggyback off of Z's point, this is a lot of on throttle time around this racetrack, and some drivers, they're a little more comfortable with some higher wing settings, and not only is that slower, but that is a little bit rougher on your fuel economy. So if you don't get that number right, if you don't account for that lack of fuel mileage, then you can be put in a really tough situation.
I agree. And we've seen so many different strategies, and a couple of drivers say, if that safety car didn't come out, it could have been an issue that they were going to run out of fuel. So they were thankful that it came out. I'm not sure if we're going to see any of those tonight. Do you think we'll see a safety car?
We could. It'll probably be early. Hell, actually, now that I say that, the walls are pretty far away from the racetrack, but you're traveling at such speed that usually if you spin out, you're probably going to go flying pretty far off of the racing surface unless you're able to make a pretty spectacular catch. So we very well could see a safety car. I know we saw one here last season. I was part of it. I wasn't out of the race because of it, but I
Yeah.
was part of the incident where that happened. So uh, we definitely could see one, but I don't think it's likely, but it's definitely possible.
We're about to find out, though. 36 laps here at the Austrian Grand Prix. You can see these teammates right here, side by side for RB. Then we have Dion 4Dub in 7th, Sober David, who we spoke to pre-race, Jacob X99. Very interesting qualifying for Jacob and David. Not what they want to see, but here we go. As these guys are making their way around, Ferrari Nut will lead us off to green. You can see him warming those tires up, getting the heat in them.
Yeah, Jacob hadn't really had an incident-free race this season, or even a weirdness-free race. He's sort of this league's version of Jose from the NASCAR league, so just a lot of misfortune following him around. Maybe that is over for the night and he can move up through the field, have himself a clean race, and finish where that car deserves to.
Most of our drivers are on the medium tire compound. 2 drivers, Ferrari Nut and Leaf Justin, will start on the hard tire compound, but you saw it would be a one-stop for the most part. We'll see what happens with these guys. Ferrari Nut boxing, and we see other drivers making their way to the box, waiting for the lights to go out here for 36 lap race. Lap 1 critical for staying in or braking DRS. It's true. Good point.
Yeah, this is definitely a racetrack where you can see a DRS train.
All right, here we go. The lights are about to be out here at the Austrian Grand Prix. We're underway, and you can already see side by side Ferrari Nut and Polish Hammer. Polish going to tuck in behind as they're trying to make their way around the first corner. MJ Seals makes up a position. Gale Force makes up a position over Scarface.
Yeah, Scarface losing 2 positions there in turn 1 as Leaf Justice is able to get around him, as well as Gale Force. Gale Force had a really good start there. Oh,
trouble!
Dion for Dub gets in there super deep. Him and Jacob go wide. They make some contact coming back onto the racetrack. Sober David out to in front of them in 7th. So I was wrong. Jacob's bad luck was not done.
And those 2 drivers were still side by side, but Jacob is now behind Dion for Dub. Meanwhile, our leader, Ferrari Nut, he's got Polish right in tow directly behind him. We're going to see they have a little bit of gap. They're starting to leave the field. Leaf Justin just over a second behind. You can see he's got his eyes set on Polish Hammer and Ferrari Nut. Now we're going to have to see what he can do down these straights as Ferrari Nut brings it in purple, a 110.6.
Yeah, our front 2 have been able to get out front. DRS enabled Leaf Justin outside of that detection zone. So mission accomplished for our first 2 as they've been able to get out of DRS range. Justin, unfortunately, the first car within it of the drivers behind him, and he gets passed by Gale Force, who has had a nice start to this race as he has moved into the 3rd position.
Yeah, we've seen him grow more confident with each race for Gale Force, and that was a nice pass as he made it through Leaf Justin, and he had a podium last week, so I kind of feel like tonight we're going to see that once again. He's got his teammate 2 cars behind, so Justin is in an RB sandwich currently. We'll see here. Scarface, though, falling in that 6th position. We've heard him have trouble before the race tonight. He says that traction control is just giving him fits at this track. He doesn't know why, but we'll see what he can bring home.
Gale Force up 3 positions. Scarface has fallen back 3 positions, so they have effectively swapped spots in the running order. Polish Hammer with the fastest lap of the race. He is directly on the rear wing of Ferrari Nut as they have put a gap on the rest of the field. Will he try to make a lunge here, heading off into the hard right-hander? Ferrari Nut not really able to manage to up a defense, but he tries the crossover. Not quite able to get there, but he is going to have that DRS down the straightaway, and he will be able to take that lead back.
They were side by side, and I do believe we're going to see that once again. A little slip from Polish Hammer going to cost him a little bit of time here. We've got Gale Force behind just about a second and a half, so Polish Hammer starting to fall off from Ferrari Nut after that slip. It just takes one mistake, and it can cost you a lot of time.
Yes, a very momentum-based racetrack with all the speed, especially in sectors 2 and 3. And as you said, one slip cost him a lot of time, but he's still staying within a half second, so he will have DRS down these next couple of straights. And that's an interesting design choice in this racetrack, is having that DRS zone immediately after a passing zone with the detection zone on the opposite side of on the exit of the passing zone. So it can create for some frustrating racing if you're able to make a pass at someone.
Now, our leader is on different tire than the rest of the field, along with Leaf Justin, so he is on the hard tire compound. I'm kind of curious, what are we... Ooh, a huge slip from Ferrari Nut. I don't even know how he held on to that, but that is going to be enough to try to almost put Polish Hammer side by side. I'm surprised he didn't, but take a look at how much fishtailing is going on from Ferrari.
Yeah, he had himself pretty well established, but Polish Hammer deciding he did not want to go into that corner side by side, bails out of it, allows Ferrari Nut to gather himself, and Polish Hammer gets the curb, able to catch it. A nice save. Both these drivers on edge, every inch of racetrack and every bit of rear tire that they have to make it around and try to battle for this lead.
Even with this, even with the side-by-side racing and the slips that we've seen, that second group is starting to fall just a little bit further back. We were at a second and a half. We are now at 2 seconds, and here we go. I thought they were going to go side by side once again in that corner. Polish Hammer, he is right on the heels of Ferrari Nut, just on top of each other. Ferrari gets a great exit off of that last corner, and Polish just really pushing it as he enters the next one.
Yeah, he was really trying to get off of that corner because he tried last lap or 2 laps ago he made that pass, completed it, but Ferrari was able to use that next DRS zone to power back around him. So Polish Hammer was trying to be patient there and then get as much power off the corner, but he overdid it a little bit, slipped up, made a mistake, and that's allowed Ferrari to get a hefty gap on him. Now he has to kind of gather himself back up and make up that time. Ferrari making himself very small in the distance.
He also brings in that purple 107.5, and I see you guys saying Arby's sounds good right now. Gale Force, he is looking good, and he's part of that Arby's Force right there. But yeah, he is currently sitting P3. I know. We'll see. We're going to find out, but they're sitting 3rd and 5th currently. Justin's still in that sandwich, and he is right in the thick of it right there. So these guys just extremely close racing. We've seen this throughout the season. We're on round 9, and it is no different tonight. These guys are about 2.6 back from our leader, Polish Hammer, still right on the heels of Ferrari Nut.
Yeah, Polish Hammer right now a little bit better than Ferrari Nut, but just not able to complete this pass and move away. And as we go on in the laps, that grip is going to cross over. Already seems to maybe be trending that way. Ferrari Nut on the hard tire that should last a little bit longer than Polish Hammer's mediums. And yeah, he's starting to slip and fade just a little bit as Ferrari Nut starting to leg out a nice lead.
Yeah, he sure is, and he's once again bringing in a fast time, a 107.9, and Polish Hammer, you see him kind of sliding a little bit coming off these exits, and Z mentions that as his teammate says he needs to tidy up turn 3, and we'll see what he can do here. But man, some of these curbs giving these drivers issues, but Ferrari Nut, he's just extremely fast here. Gale Force battling it out. Meanwhile, with Leaf Justin, we saw them quickly switch positions and then go right back to where they were. But Leaf Justin, amazing entrance into that corner. Now we got to see what he does off the exits, and Gale Force seems to be a little bit faster off the exit.
Yeah, this is the kind of situation this racetrack creates. You have 3 drivers on top of each other, unable to make really anything, not able to get away from each other. Scarface has fallen off of this group. Not the start to the race that he wanted, as he has fallen back into the 6th spot, but still plenty of time. Ferrari Nut sets a fastest lap with a 107. Meanwhile, just a gaggle of cars up here racing for 3rd as these 3 drivers, as you would say, are underneath a blanket, and Gale Force loses it. He goes into the wall.
Gale Force, no! Huge damage on that front wing. Absolutely nothing left. Virtual safety car is out. He's going to have to go in, get that repaired. It just goes to show. One tiny mistake. And into the wall he goes for a safety car. Lap 8 of 36. Just so unfortunate. He's had such a fantastic run. Just anything can change so quickly.
He had an excellent first couple of laps. I'm not sure if he grabbed the curb wrong there or just got a little too much throttle, but either way, goes for a slide off of turn 1 into the grass. Kind of surprised we even got a virtual safety car out of it, considering he was able to drive away and
continue on. Yeah,
would have been well off of the racing surface, but virtual stewards elected to throw it, and now we are back to green flag racing while Gale Force tries to limp this car to pit road.
Yeah, I know he's going to hope for a safety car after this. Definitely going to have to bring it in. You can see him making his way on down pit lane. I'm surprised he can even turn to even make it down there, but you can see him on his way in. Sober David going to take over that spot. Moves up to 6th, Scarface 5th. MJ Seals, his teammate, in 4th. Leave Justin 3rd. Polish Hammer, he's going to be in 2nd, 2.2 back from our leader, Ferrari Nut.
Yeah, Ferrari Nut able to capitalize on that virtual safety car and really basically double his lead and get well out of DRS range Justin now moves up into the third position, trying to get away from MJ Seals and Scarface. He's now been brought back to the rear bumper of that RB, so that's a couple of positions now in range of Scarface that weren't there before the virtual safety car. So kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into the early workings of this race with the incident involving Gale Force.
Z saying in chat, now the hard tires will start to shine, and we have 3 of them. Gale Force, who just took the hard tires, Leaf Justin, who is on that, and also our leader, while the mediums will start to wear out. We're going to find out. No one with a penalty. We're not expecting a lot of those tonight. We've seen them in the past couple of races quite a bit. The Scarface seems to be getting a little bit of confidence back here with the more laps we tick down, and man, really had to let off to not get into the back of MJ Seals there, but quite the close battle.
Almost gets into the back of MJ Seals.
Yeah, it's been a couple of
Scarface
times.
Really trying to work him over as we work their way through the infield of the racetrack. A little bit rough on the entry, and that's just the way it is with these cars. You get close to somebody and you start to lose the nose just a little bit. It's very difficult to make a pass. That's why you have to use the DRS zones, and why staying within that second range is just so important to being able to make up track position.
I'm impressed with MJ and his run tonight, looking very solid with a P4 currently. And Leaf Justin, also a very, very solid run in Scarface. As soon as I say that, makes a pass over MJ. So they're going to switch position. Scarface to 4th, MJ over to 5th. We have Gale Force back on the track from his incident earlier on. He's sitting P9 with Jacob 8th after a first lap incident between him and Dion. Dion's going to be 7th, Sober David in 6th.
Yeah, just riding on board with Jacob, I'm pretty sure he has paused the game and is currently being driven by an AI with how nice and tidy that line looks. That looks very much like an AI line. So I think he is, and also judging by how little pace he has at the moment compared to the rest of the field, I believe he has maybe stepped away from the console after the way the start of that race went. Maybe gathering his thoughts, maybe petting any pets he has, maybe throwing some objects. Who knows? However you deal with such matters. But anyways, looks like Gale Force is going to be able to pass him, and I believe Gale Force has made his last stop of the night. He's going to try to go 26 laps on a set of hards, which here I believe is pretty possible.
Well, we're about to find out. He's trying to make his way around Jacob X99. You can see him bringing that tight, going down to the bottom. Here he comes. Going to be around the start-finish line. We're on lap 12 of 36. Plenty of racing. And Kyotonic, what's up? Hope you're doing well. This is... Hey, thanks, Pete. Yes, it is Shake and Bake, my club. I announce it, but Dion is the owner of the F1 series. Ferrari Nut, though, almost a 5-second gap over our second place Polish Hammer. If he does get tonight, brings it home a winner, this will be his 5th win of the season. Polish Hammer has 2 wins, while Z46, who is unfortunately unable to be here tonight, a slip from Ferrari Nut. Man, a very, very nice save, but Z also has 2 wins.
As long as he can keep it on the racetrack, Ferrari can afford a couple of slips. As he's put his lead out to 5 seconds. Not sure if Polish Hammer might have had a bit of an issue, a bit of a slip somewhere along the way. Leaf Justin 2.5 seconds back of him, now 2.25, as he is trying to run him down with these hard tires, which should be pretty good. We're getting close to the halfway point of the race. A little bit before that is when we'll see the drivers on the mediums coming to pit road, and then sometime after that is when you should expect to see the drivers on the hards, unless they're trying to do something aggressive with that strategy, maybe go a little bit deeper and try to see if maybe the softs are an option, but not sure if we'll see that tonight. But hey, anything's possible.
That is true, and when anything is, it usually does happen. But our next closest battle is going to be MJ Seals. He is less than half a second behind Scarface. We saw MJ up in that 4th position, having a really solid run. It's his first season with us here in SnB. It's just been great to see him out here running. Heads into the corner really, really well, but Scarface going to have a really nice exit. Get out of there. We'll see what they do for the next corner, but here he goes, making a pass on that outside. As we head into the next corner here, we will see, are they, man, that was so close, Jordan. He's going to have to let off. Scarface takes back that position, P4, MJ 5th.
MJ being very conservative there. Scarface being pretty aggressive, trying to hold on to the outside lane that allows him to hold on to the position in 4th. But MJ Seals seems to be a little bit better now, maybe benefiting from the DRS. But I think Scarface had a nice little rebound there, but maybe the tires starting to betray him just a little bit as we get close to when that pit window should be opening up.
Gale Force passing up Dion 4Dub. Meanwhile, we have another battle brewing up here, and it's going to be Leaf Justin on Polish Hammer here. Polish goes down to 3rd. Leaf Justin goes up to 2nd. A great pass for him as we go into the first corner of lap 15 of 36. He's going to have the pressure put on by Polish Hammer. Can he keep that 2nd spot? We'll see and we'll find out. But man, Jacob Back has joined, so you are correct, Jordan. That was an AI that took that over.
Polish not able to make the move on Justin. Meanwhile, Scarface was able to leapfrog MJ Seals back, so Justin able to complete that pass. Seals gonna have to wait until the next lap to be able to do the same thing.
About 0.3 back, you can see these two just still going at it. That's the one thing that is so consistent throughout all of these races. There are so many different battles. Sometimes you just feel like, oh, if I stay on one driver, I'm going to miss this battle over here. There's just so much action going on. And our first penalty is going to be Polish Hammer. 3-second time penalty. So unfortunate. And he was already just passed by Leaf Justin. I think he's starting to try to push it a little too hard, Jordan.
Yeah, MJ Seals going to go for the undercut here as he's heading pit road, but yeah, back to Polish Hammer. It was about midway through that little chute between the final 2 corners where he got the penalty, maybe a little bit passive on exit, letting the wheel, come out, letting the wheel open up, maybe a little bit over aggressive trying to set up for that final corner. But either way, that is his 3rd warning. That is a penalty, and as you mentioned, that is the first one of the night. A Williams driver getting a penalty, not the rarest sight we have seen in this league.
But it isn't Z tonight. We love you, Z. I will say, I say this every race, Z has improved upon those penalties, and he does have those wins, which are really, really cool to see. But I know he's got to be, he goes, hey now, I know he's got to be a little frustrated, but here we have a Polish Hammer on his way in to pit lane to take those tires. Leaf Justin going to be 2nd, Ferrari Nut 1st. Scarface goes in as he is currently P4, but that will drop.
Yeah, he's trying to cover MJ Seals here. Polish Hammer, he looked like his car was out of control. Sober David also in, so pretty much all of the drivers on the medium tires giving up on those tires to put on the hards and go the rest of the way on the harder compound.
J Seals up to 4th. Scarface comes on out, and Gale Force will take over that position. Now, how concerned should we be about Gale Force? I mean, he's going to be on much older tires than the remainder of this field from his incident earlier on. He's got 8-lap-old tires. Is it going to affect his lap time? Could we possibly see a podium finish from him tonight?
I don't think a podium unless we get a safety car, in which case he's going to pit anyway. I think where everyone runs, I think he's lost way too much track position unless we see some issues. But I think he's fine to make it the rest of the way. I think the hard tires, this isn't a track that's really all that tough on tires. It's hard on the rears because, again, you're a lot of on throttle and you're using every ounce of it to try to make up as much time as you can on the straights following those corners. But I, I, I think he'll be all right as far as tire wear goes. The car will get lighter as the fuel burns off, so the lap time shouldn't fall off too terribly. Now, compared to everybody, they might be a little bit off, but I think he'll be fine.
Polish teammate Z46 in chat says Polish will have gotten a warning for crossing out of the pit lane early. Meanwhile, Gale Force gets passed once again by Scarface. So these two just having a two-man dance out here on track as we head into lap 19 of 36, just over halfway mark. Man, a lot of racing going on. This is going to be the tightest battle currently out here as Leaf Justin is 13 seconds behind Ferrari Nut, but I don't believe that Ferrari Nut has gone in, and neither has Leaf Justin. So these two still hanging out.
Yeah, they're going to go until about lap, it was about 16, 17 when we started seeing them coming in, so that'll end up being about 20, 21, 22 on the flip side of that when their window opens up. So I think if they like their tires as well as they seem to be running, I think they might go as long as they can to maximize the pace they can have on whatever tire they try to put on, which I would expect to be the medium.
You know, we've started the season seeing a lot of mistakes happening to Ferrari Nut, or mistakes that he does make at the start of the race. He seems to have cleaned it up, and we do have our second penalty, Dion 4-Dub with 3 seconds. So 2 drivers now with a penalty, but Ferrari Nut, he's definitely cleaned up the start of his races. Do you think we're going to see any type of incident from him for the remainder of the race?
I mean, as you said, he's really cleaned it up. There's a few slips here and there, but no catastrophic mistakes like we were seeing earlier in the season that were causing him damage and costing him positions on the racetrack. So he's really cleaned it up, really kind of figured out this car on this game, and it's definitely shown in the running order the last few weeks. And again tonight, now he's just in a position where he can pretty well coast to the end with Polish Hammer kind of having a car that isn't the greatest on the long run, and also now having a penalty. I think Leaf Justin is his biggest threat right now, and Justin is currently 15 seconds back.
But what a phenomenal run by Justin. It's great to see him up here, P2. I would love to see him finish out podium. It would be his best finish out here for the season so far. We are on lap 21 of 36. JSJ family, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the race. But Justin, yeah, phenomenal run for him. Polish Hammer, 13.3 back. He does have that 3-second time penalty. MJ Seals is outside of that range, so he would not gain that position if that race ended currently. But Scarface, take a look. 0.5 from MJ Seals, so he could challenge him for that position. Man, he gets in there so good going down that corner here. We'll see if he can make that pass. Gonna take it to the inside, heading into our second corner. Phenomenal job, even with a little slip there.
Yeah, MJ Seals went wide on corner exit and maybe had to check up the throttle to keep from getting the warning, or just was in there out of control, and that cost him some serious lap time. Oh! Scarface really working hard on the outside to try to get the power down. They're going to go side by side into this corner.
Side by side still. Hard tires for both of them, just a lap off from when they went in, but Scarface takes it super wide, giving plenty of room, and he's got his teammate behind him. MJ and then Gale Force just have Scarface separating the two. So these guys are really going to start to battle it out. Scarface going to put under a lot of pressure from these two teammates.
Yeah, Scarface was on the inside of MJ Seals, let him go. MJ went in there like they were still side by side. Both of them kind of offline from it. Some really good racing before that, as they were side by side for about half of the racetrack.
Meanwhile, Polish Hammer he has made a pass over Leaf Justin. I want to see, is that from making a stop? And I do believe Leaf Justin has made his stop of the race. Possibly. I know he has gone in, but yeah, he is 6 seconds behind Polish Hammer. What happened?
Scarface. Corner underneath MJ Seals, and coming out of the corner, not sure if Gale Force made contact with him or if Scarface just really lit up the tires trying to keep up the momentum underneath him. But either way, Scarface loops it around, potentially off the front wing of Gale Force. I don't really want to call it either way because I'm not 100% sure, but either way, Scarface loses all that track position, including a spot to Gale Force.
Yeah, so unfortunately, he's talked about the issues on track with getting loose on these corners. I don't see any wing damage, luckily, but unfortunately, he has lost quite a bit of time. In fact, almost 7 seconds to Gale Force and MJ. Not what he wants to see, but Gale Force is going to capitalize on that and be just under a second behind his teammate now.
Yeah, on those older tires, 7-lap older tires, and the drivers that he was racing around, but Gale Force putting down some decent lap times, able to hang with these guys and making the most of it. Again, not sure if he was the cause of that incident with Scarface, but either way, he is running really well at the moment, putting some good lap times down, putting some good pace down. A little bit wide there in the wake of MJ Seals, his teammate, but he's still going to try to work him over here and complete this pass as you see Seals wiggling that rear end a little bit through the corners.
Ferrari not with an incredible 28-second lead. We're on lap 24. This race is absolutely flying by. I don't even know where the time went, but man, it is so action-packed. I mean, everywhere you look, there's something happening. But Polish Hammer has found his way indeed back into second. He does have that 3-second time penalty. It will not affect him currently as Justin is 6 seconds out, sitting P3. Z46 says Ferrari will probably extend the stint until lap 26 or 27. You can easily do 30 laps. Okay, well, here we go. On his way in and 24 laps.
Going to be easy work on the medium tires. I'm assuming that's what he's going to here. I was thinking he might try to get close to lap 30 and maybe put down some heater lap times on the softs, but
there goes
go
mediums.
The more conservative route and put on the mediums.
All right, same strategy for Justin and Ferrari Nut. However, Justin has 2-lap older tires, but should not affect him too terribly much there. He's having a nice run here tonight. MJ about 6 seconds back from Leaf Justin. Leaf Justin, okay, 106.9 fastest lap in the race. So, man, he is putting down some fantastic lap times.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get to Polish Hammer without any incident, but it's going to be a lot to ask him to be able to make anything of a race in this as far as the battle for the lead with Ferrari Nut goes. I expect here in a couple of laps for Ferrari Nut to set some new land speed records as far as the lap time goes here tonight.
Doug, I see you out there. Hello. I don't have Pete with me tonight, but I do have Jordan. He is out here announcing.
Sorry to disappoint.
Z says, I think Justin put Pitt too early. I don't know. We're going to find out. He's almost 5 seconds off from Polish Hammer. Now, the question is MJ going to be able to close that gap? I mean, he's almost 7 seconds off, is staying pretty consistent with that. And I do believe he might be battling soon with his teammate for RB. So I think that's going to be our next thing is a battle for P4 between teammates. And Jordan, Doug says you're doing a fabulous job.
Well, thank you. I tried really hard.
All right, here goes. About to go side by side, and Gale Force thinks twice. Just so unfortunate to see the incident earlier on with Gale Force and then Scarface. These two just had an up and down roller coaster of a race here, but Gale Force really taking a peek on the outside, on the inside, trying to decide when and where he should try to make a pass.
Gale Force being super conservative. Ferrari, and that's down to 105.6.
Ridiculous.
Pretty hefty lap time that he just put down. That is the fastest lap by a tenth or by a second and a third of a tenth.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yep, that's a heater.
That is a heater indeed. You know, when he is out here and he's on a roll, I'll tell you what, nothing stops this guy. This will be his 5th win of the season if everything goes the way he's hoping, and you can just see that smoke coming out the rear of his tires here. But man, oh man, he definitely has improved. We talk about the issues he's had earlier on in the season at the start of these races. He has cleaned that up, and it just goes to show what it will do, and it gets you those wins. Polish Hammer going to be in second. He has 2 wins in the season. He has closed down that gap a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. We're coming up on lap 28 of 36, and he's still 12.6 back. So I think he's going to be comfortably in P2.
Justin's been catching him slowly but surely here, a little bit at a time, a few tenths here and there. Polish Hammer really kind of fell apart at the end of that run, so we'll see here in a couple of laps if that holds true on this run as well. But yeah, good runs for them. Justin looking at a podium, and if you really wanted to jinx it, you could just say, nope, no way, there's a safety car, nothing possible to ruin this race for Ferrari 9. If you just wanted to test the cosmos.
Another penalty on the board. MJ Seals, 3-second time penalty. You hate to see it, but I know his teammate probably wants to see that, even though he just made the pass here. So Scarface, if he can get it within that 3-second range, he will take over that position. And speaking of that, Justin, if he can close that gap by just a little over another second here, he could take over that second spot, Jordan.
Yeah, he's working hard here, but he's lost a tenth since last we looked. Gale Force running really well on his old tires. Looked like MJ Seals, after getting the penalty, kind of conceded that position. I think Gale Force is a little faster, but I think Justin has a chance here. God, they really swing it into that final corner. Looks loose, especially from the broadcast view, but riding on board, you can really tell they're working it hard into that final turn. Justin loses it. Goes for a slide, able to
great save.
That is going to be a lot of lap time off the board for him, as he's going to fall an extra second back.
Not what he needs to see right now. I mean, he was almost in the range just by a second off. Now he's about 2.5 seconds off from getting into that range of taking that second spot. Still has time, but man, he cannot afford any more mistakes, and he has to improve those lap times. I'm just not sure it's going to be highly possible. David, I see you out there. I hope you're doing well. This race has been crazy. Really, really fun at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I really felt good about Justin being able to run down Polish, but since I thought that, things have kind of stabilized as far as lap times go, and now Justin with the big mistake. I still don't have a lot of confidence in that Williams' long run speed, but there's 6 laps remaining, or a little bit over 6 laps remaining to prove me wrong there.
Take a look at this Scarface. He is 2.7 behind, and if the race ended currently, he would take over that 5th spot from MJ, who has a 3-second time penalty. So if he can hold on to that and stay within that 3 seconds, he will take that 5th spot. But MJ, I'm impressed with his runs. You can just see the improvement race after race. Gale Force, I don't know how he did it. He went to the back because of an incident, lost his wing, had to go in to repair it, came out from the back of the field, and is currently sitting 4th. Phenomenal job.
Yeah, he's on much older tires than the rest of the field, and he's going to have to make them last another 5 laps, which with the shorter race length is basically trying to make them last another 10 laps, but I believe he is capable of doing it. But Scarface has had a nice rebound since his
Sure has.
earlier spin. He is within striking distance of passing MJ Seals on the racetrack, and that would give him an opportunity to get to Gale Force. He's going to have to do something about that DRS train once he gets there, but I think he has something for these two if he can make it happen.
All right, let's go back to our leader. We'll have a look throughout the field. Ferrari not coming up on some traffic. Looks like it might be Jacob X99. We'll have a look, but currently in the lead by 17 seconds. We're going to see how much grief he gets by trying to pass this car right here as he makes his way onto the front stretch. Should be no problem. Meanwhile, Polish Hammer is going to be in second, about 17 and a half back. And yeah, Ferrari not made his way by. Polish in second, Leaf Justin in third, 6.2 back. Gale Force in fourth, about 9 seconds back. And he's still battling it out with his teammate MJ Seals, just half a second back. Scarface going to be in sixth. Sober David in seventh. Jacob X99 after a rough start in eighth. And Dion, who got tangled up with Jacob, out here P9.
Yeah, ever since that first lap incident, both races have kind of fallen apart. Jacob with a myriad of issues. Since then, after I said, hey, maybe he got all of his issues out of the way in qualifying. Nope, maybe that was
just kidding.
The start of an absolute cavalcade of them. But here we are with Jacob in eighth after in a season where we've seen him have a ton of pace and be incredibly competitive when the F1 24 gods aren't conspiring against him.
Still quite a grouping here out in 4 through 6. Gale Force has got his teammates still RB directly behind him. That is MJ Seals, 0.5 back. Scarface still within that 3-second range, just trying to hold on to it and closing that gap a little bit. I'm kind of curious if these two start battling, it will affect how he can catch up. And Dion 4Dub, another penalty on the board. I do believe that's going to be 6 seconds. Let's take a look. And yeah, it's going to be 6 seconds.
Scarface super loose out of the final corner, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of challenge out of MJ Seals. There's not really a point to it. He'll pass him, and then, well, actually, there he goes around. Maybe they're going to try to start leapfrogging each other down these DRS zones, try to use the DRS as they watch Scarface try to run them down here. That might be the play here, as these two teammates going to try to work together to make as much lap time as possible by using the DRS zones in their favor.
Yeah, even if Scarface had that little slip there, it cost him a couple of tenths, but he gained it all back after these two were going side by side. And now he's at 1.8, so he still is gaining out there. He's well within that range, and I think MJ Seals, yeah, he's definitely going to be losing that spot there. We'll see what happens, but currently sitting P4. We're on lap 34 of 36. Only a few more laps to go here, and FerrariNet will be a 5-time winner here in Season 8 as we have a caution. Let's see if we can find out where it is. Wonder if Sober David got off track, perhaps.
Yeah, it looks like it's already kind of cleaned itself up a little bit, whatever happened. But, Scarface with a 3-second penalty.
That takes that. Yeah.
That really changes the outlook of this race.
We will no longer see him take over that spot from MJ, but MJ will lose it.
He might do it on.
We shall see. MJ gonna lose that spot to his teammate, however. Lap 35 of 36. Anything can still happen. We've seen it time and time again, but our leader...
No.
What just happened?
Scarface, a little bit too much throttle out of the Sector 2 hairpin. He's going to lose that track position. He's going to fall into the clutches of Sober David now. And that battle is giving Sober David an opportunity to steal 6th position here in the closing laps of this race.
And Scarface has to be extremely frustrated. He's had solid speed here. It's just, it's a slippery track for him tonight. He said he was struggling with it. And we did change our traction control. It used to be that you could have up to full traction control. Now you can only have medium. He's trying to get used to it, and I do believe he said he's going on no traction control. So we're going to see some mistakes as you get used to it, and I think tonight has been a struggle. Sober David makes that pass, moves up to 6th, Scarface down to 7th, and he has a 3-second time penalty to boot. So Sober David will be safe and sound as we are finally on our final lap of the race. 36 of 36, Ferrari Nut making his way into turn 2. A little bit of a paperclip corner here as he makes his way around. And next up will be Polish Hammer, 22 seconds behind. And Leaf Justin going to round out your podium so far.
Yeah, Polish Hammer done a much better job of navigating these hard tires and the mediums. He's lost a ton of ground to Ferrari Nut, but he has pulled out a 10-second gap on Leaf Justin 24 for that second position. So very safe to come home in the second podium position ahead of the Canadian driver.
Here we go. Ferrari Nut making his way into Sector 3 around the final couple of corners. We're going to bring him home, a 5-time winner here in Season 8. Here we come around the final corner, and here he goes. Front stretch, cross the finish line. He is the winner here tonight at the Austrian Grand Prix. A huge congratulations. A 22-second lead over our second place Polish Hammer, who gets loose, and also a 3-second time penalty to boot as he is making his way around the final couple of corners. A very challenging couple of corners. He is just really testing the limits here, but manages to cross the line in one piece. He brings it home second. Leaf Justin going to come around the final corner. He is going to be third.
Yeah, he got a little wide there, completely off the throttle. Might have been close to getting a penalty. Doesn't get one. MJ Seal's going to come across in fourth with his teammate behind him. Gale Force will flip-flop those positions once the penalties are added, so Gale Force will be your fourth-place finisher. MJ Seal's fifth, Sober David sixth, and Scarface in seventh.
A little bit of a coulda, woulda, shoulda race for a couple of these drivers with phenomenal speed, just not so fortunate luck, but Gale Force, no surprise there, driver of the day after his comeback from an earlier incident. So great job to these guys. And Jordan, you know you're going to have to help me out trying to get these drivers in here because it never cooperates. Oh, good. I don't even see anyone online. So that's helpful. That's good.
Let's see.
Well, we'll try to get him. We will try to get him. Please hold tight while we invite everyone in here.
Ding dong.
All right. Thank you so much. Ferrari Nut, a wild, wild race for you. A ton of speed. A battle earlier on with Polish Hammer, but once you got out there and got that rhythm going, man, you were just unstoppable. Take us through your race and how it went for you.
Yeah, just fairly, really, for the most part, quiet. A few squeaky moments here and there, just from trying to get the fast lap, pull the gap out, that type of thing. But yeah, once the first 8 to 10 laps went by and the tire difference came into play, Polish slipped out of DRS range, and then that was all she wrote there. So just the same old Austria as always. The mediums don't hold on for nothing.
I got to ask, what is your favorite track?
If I had to pick a favorite track out of all of them we have on the calendar, I would probably have to say I don't know. I don't really know that I have a favorite track per se. Brazil is always a good one for me.
Fair enough. Difficult question.
Silverstone's just fun to drive. Maybe not as challenging, but it's fun to just chuck the car through Baggots and Baggots. I don't know that I have a favorite track as much as I have favorite corners.
Well, Silverstone is next week, so if that's a good track, what can we expect from you next week?
More of the same, probably.
All right. Well, your 5th win of the season. You did a phenomenal job, and man, you're just on a hot streak here in season 8. So a huge congratulations. And I do have to ask, it looked a little slippery out there. What was the biggest problem spot?
Probably the biggest problem spot was really I had issues with it understeering in the final corner, but also had a bit of a hairy, scary moment off the first corner in the race and off the third corner in qualifying on my first out lap, where I may or may not have found the barrier a little bit.
Fair enough. As I said, great job to you. Another great win. I can't wait to see Silverstone. You guys always put on a heck of a battle. Good job. Congratulations on the win. Go celebrate.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan. 2nd place. What we got?
Yeah, we're here with Polish Hammer. Looked like the medium tires were a little rough on you there on the back half of your run with them, but then the hards were a lot kinder to you on the second half. Talk about your run tonight and just how it went.
Yeah, fine. Actually went better than I expected. I'm starting to get a hang of this no traction control crap, but it was a good start to the race. I had Ferrari in my sights for the better part of like, I don't know, 6-7 laps, and I had to go do something. Oh, well, I had lost DRS to him, and then I had to go do something out of my room because there was crap going on outside. So I had to pause for like a good lap and lost a good 4 seconds just due to that alone, which was great. By that point, there wasn't really any hope of me getting first, so I kind of just was like, okay, I'm just gonna hopefully Justin doesn't catch up to me, and thankfully he seemed to, the medium seemed to die off pretty hard. So
Well, talk about the rest of the season going forward. I know you're not a big fan of the traction control, but the non-traction control, the limits on how much of it you're allowed to use. But how is that faring? That learning curve going, and how do you feel about it going forward?
well, I went a lot better than Canada this week for sure. I think that was just due to having a better setup than I do with Canada, and Canada just being a bad track in general. But we'll see what goes on the rest of the season. Looking forward to hopefully getting some good finishes, and hopefully trying to give Ferrari and Z a run for their money some of these weeks, but we'll see.
Well, that is Polish Hammer coming home in P2. Back over to you, Frozen.
Yeah, we have Leaf Justin on the podium. A great run for you tonight. We saw lots of battles. And take us through your favorite battle and how your race went.
I mean, I guess probably the most interesting battle per se was trying to see what I could do to catch Polish at the end, but it was kind of a losing battle because it was looking good for a little while, but knowing that the tires were going to come around, I had to do what I can early on, and it just wasn't enough from the moment that it slipped up the first time and I had to save it. It was kind of downhill from there, but yeah, did essentially what I usually try to do and just flip the strategy backwards on the hards first and hold on to other people essentially till I can change the tires. And it, for the most part, worked as well as I could have thought that it would have. And yeah, just got enough of a gap early to enough people that I was able to ride to third.
Well, a great night for McLaren out here. Silverstone, how do you feel about that? And are we going to see possibly another podium?
I'm sorry, I was being talked to.
I said next week is going to be Silverstone, so how do you feel about that?
I don't necessarily. I mean, I like that track. I could take it or leave it. I don't really know as far as like how confident I am there. Should be a good race though.
Very nice.
Don't know
Well,
about a podium again, but
we'll see. You showed a lot of speed tonight, and it was I just always love watching you guys and the battles that you have in that part of the field. I mean, it's just always so intense. Do you have a favorite battle that you've had out of the entire season? Do you remember any of them?
would it be a stupid answer to say the nonsense that happened last week?
I was gonna say that might be at the top there. You guys were so funny to watch, and as I said on stream, I'm pretty sure these two have got to be laughing. I mean, teammates just going down the front stretch around corners, just going wheel to wheel, just hitting each other. It looks fun. It looked fun.
Yep, we both could not control our cars, and that is what came of it.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what you can do at Silverstone. Great run here tonight, ending out P3. Jordan, we have Gale Force, driver of the day, and I know he had a roller coaster of a ride. You want to give him an interview?
Yeah, roller coaster of a ride, able to bounce back all the way up to the 4th position. Talk about your race, the incidents that left you having to play catch up, and how you were able to get back up into a solid position.
I don't actually know entirely what happened that made me lose it. I think I was just probably too heavy of a right foot. And then thankfully a little bit of an undercut from the tires helped me make up the time loss from changing the wing. And then I used Scarface for a while to just sit in his DRS and catch up, and then I got behind my teammate and I got to sit behind him and just try and save my tires using the DRS. And then towards the end, me and him were sort of doing our best to try and see if we could get him far enough ahead of Scarface so that the penalty wouldn't drop him out of the top 5. And then I think Scarface got his own penalty and then had a spin a couple laps from the end, so it made it pretty easy for us. I just decided to play it safe behind him from there.
Well, again, that was a interesting run for you. Next week going to Silverstone, or 2 weeks from now, or is it next week? I don't remember.
It
but
is
yeah,
next week.
Silverstone next week. Silverstone up next. How do you feel about that racetrack?
I like the track. It never seems to play out well for me, so uh, not sure if I'm looking forward to it or not.
And were you worried at all about the distance you were having to go on the tires? It seemed like the hards were the preferred tire, and you were going a little bit deeper on them than anyone else was going to have to all night. Was that a cause of concern for you at all, or did you think it was going to be perfectly fine?
I was worried about it to start with, and then when I was able to get behind someone and then take it a bit easier in the middle sector, use the DRS through like the 3 big straights to avoid losing too much time, it helped a bit. And then by the end, I looked and the tires were far better than I expected them to be, so it wasn't too bad.
Well, that is Gale Force 97 came home P4, our driver of the day / night here this evening in the Shake and Bake F1 League. Over to you, Frozen.
All right. Next week, we will have round 10 of the season out of, I do believe, 15 races. We are headed to Silverstone. It will be a fantastic race, as always. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know the drivers love the support, and we love it here on the broadcast booth here. So thank you so much. We will see you next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You guys have a great night.